YouTube, what's poppin'? It is your boy Real, and I'm coming back at you with another video. So today's video is I just want to have a conversation about you guys about masculinity and manhood. So the title of this video is going to be called, is it masculinity or is it manhood? And the question that I'm proposing a question to you guys is the term that we're using, is it correct? I know these terms seem pretty similar, but you know, syntax and linguistics matter. There's a lot of words that mean like pretty much the same thing that can technically be synonyms, but are kind of used differently and interchangeably. Like advocate and advocate, we know those are literally the same word, literally the same spelling, but different pronunciation. Different enunciation and different meaning based on which pronunciation you use. So, but before we get into it, please go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. And if you're going ahead and subscribe, please go ahead and hit the bell button. Alright, so shit, that's it. Y'all know how we roll, so let's go ahead and get into these definitions first. Of course, the Standard English North American Dictionary is Merriam-Webster's dictionary, so that's usually the definitions that I use. If I use a different dictionary, I definitely let you know, but 9 times out of 10, I use Merriam-Webster. Definitions. So, masculinity is defined as the quality or nature of the male sex, the quality, state, or degree of being masculine or manly. Manhood is defined as the condition of being a human being, qualities associated with men or manliness, the condition of being an adult male as distinguished from a child or female adult, and penis. So those are the four definitions Merriam-Webster gave me for manhood. And now masculine has, you have masculine as an adjective and you have masculine as a noun. Because masculine can define something and you can also have a noun, pronoun, adjective, or inflectional form of or class of the masculine gender. A male person, the masculine gender. So now we're going to go down to masculine for adjective. There's like 5 of them, but the first one and third one have like 2 different definitions. So the first one is male, and then the second to the first one is having qualities appropriate to or usually associated with a man. 2 is of, relating to, or constituting the gender that ordinarily includes most words or grammatical forms referring to males, having or occurring in a stress final syllable, having the final chord occurring in a strong beat. So now let's go ahead and get to my opinions and why I make this video. So I feel as if the conversations about masculinity and how it's defined should be changed to using the term manhood. Although the terms are typically similar, and this context, syntax, and linguistics matter because words can actually be used interchangeably. Some things work better. English is a shitty language. Typically, the conversations that we see about masculinity usually include toxic masculinity and if men can be feminine, or how masculine a man has to be, or how feminine a man can be, still be accepted, or anything like that in that terms. Now, in terms of toxic masculinity, I do agree with using the term masculinity, and that's because the topic of conversation is the way that we view how men should be comes off toxic when developing themselves and toxic around people around them. And that's because the conversation is about the perception of what it means to be a man. And that term, toxic masculinity, refers to the toxic way of your manhood. You see what I'm saying? But whereas you go how masculinity is viewed, that's not actually masculinity, that actually goes in with manhood. And the reason why I say that is because manhood is what you are. Like, you cannot, well, I mean, you can't be masculine, but masculine is a characteristic of male or female, because you have female masculinity, you have male masculinity, but masculinity is that characteristic of male, right? And femininity is that characteristic of female. Those are just one of the things that you just cannot shake. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay because we're getting there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because a man who's wholeheartedly comfortable with his manhood and who he is can still be a feminine man. That does not change who he is, right? So if he still was like, hey, I'm a boy, then okay, cool, right? So then in that term, like when you're talking about the new masculinity, there is no new masculinity. You see what I'm saying? Masculinity is what has always been and what it will always be, a characteristic of male. And femininity will be what it has always been, a characteristic of female. Male, female, and intersex or sex or sexist, so that has nothing to do with gender or, you know, gender identity. Now, I do feel as if the term masculinity is overused, specifically in spaces when we're talking about black male masculinity, and I feel like the term masculinity does not need to be redefined, it needs to be redisplayed. Society has conditioned us that black male masculinity is dangerous and overtly violent and just the worst thing ever, and that's not true. I feel as if black males have been conditioned with that, and we can take that back. The NWA, if y'all want to do a video about black masculinity or how the perception of black male masculinity within the media, then let me know, comment below, and I'll go ahead and do a video on that too. I just researched it. I love videos like this. But I do feel like it needs to be redisplayed in terms of, because now there's a pressure where men, and it's coming from other men and women and non-binaries and white, black, yellow, red, blue, green. Anyways, I feel like black males do have this form of perception where masculinity is to be this overtly aggressive, untamable, violent, murderous, raping. Like, this has been the stereotype since, what is that first Hollywood movie? Perception of black manhood, and you see this increase of it honestly since NWA. I do feel like it's perfectly fine if a black male chooses to display his manhood in a feminine way. Not that my opinion matters or it shouldn't matter or whatever. I'm saying that because masculinity is masculinity and femininity is femininity. Those things are, you can't do away with those things, you know, day and night, yin and yang. Like, as a dualist, as someone who studies the esoteric, like, I'm not doing away with masculinity or femininity. You know, to each is their own. Some people understand, some people don't. That's fine. But yeah, I just wanted to have a conversation because, like, I just had this thought pop up in my head, and I was like, you know what? Is it masculinity that we should be talking about, or is it manhood? Me personally, I do feel as if the conversation should be switched to about manhood, and that's because manhood is actually the state of being a man and not necessarily the characteristics of being a man, because masculinity is masculinity. Like, I'm sorry, that's not gonna go nowhere. But definitely, like, let me know what you think. Like, let's have a debate, let's have some talks about something. But, you know, shout out to y'all. Peace and blessings.